We are going to start now our next session called Methods. And our first speaker is Naoto Yoshida, presenting unexpected capabilities of homeostasis for open-ended learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So good afternoon. I'm Naoto Yoshida from Kyoto University. So today I will give you a talk entitled Unexpected Capability of Homeostasis for Open-Ended Learning. So in cognitive developmental robotics, the reinforcement learning theory is a normative framework to treat the behavioral learning in autonomous agent. The reinforcement learning theory considers the internal loop, so there is an agent connected to the environment, and the agent receives observation from the environment and the return actions. So the next time step, the agent receives a scalar value called the reward, which is a short-term evaluation of the action decision. The reinforcement learning framework is based on this loop, and it is a framework that allows the agent to optimize behavior through trial and error in the environment to maximize some of these future rewards. So in fact, there is a blind spot in the autonomy of the conventional reinforcement learning. This is because there are often the cases where reward cannot be calculated in the body of the agent or robot. So for example, in game score, so this is something given by the game console, and the agent does not know how to calculate it in the body. So in the case of robot, the reward might be a robot's own accurate running speed or some arm position relative to some target. These things cannot be evaluated unless the robot has some kind of the prior knowledge or ground truth about the external world. So, however, in the case of the actual animals, so the signals that reinforce behavior are not given from the outside the body, but these are created within the brain. So this question, where the reward come from, where the general purpose rewards come from, is actually discussed in the ICDL community, but still being discussed even today in neuroscience. So our approach is homeostasis, so which I explain next, and then you will come forward with the agent. So the key question is how complex behavior emerges. So when we consider then we consider that from the fact that all animals have physical body and their internal dynamics in common. So homeostasis is a classical and fundamental concept in physiology. So the original idea of the homeostasis is that certain variable, internal variable of living organism, like glucose level or body temperature, are always regulated within a specific range. So moreover, it is well known that animals interact with the environment in the various way to create new behavior in order to maintain homeostasis. For example, if there is a heater switch in the cold cage, the mouse learns how to press the switch to warm its body. So homeostatically regulated reinforcement learning assumes that the agent can monitor its internal state and construct levers so that the internal state is maintained to close to the set point as possible. So in most standard form, the drive function is introduced to evaluate how desirable the particular internal state is, and the temporal difference of drive is used to define the lever. Actually, there are some computational theory why this lever is good or work, but I will omit here because of the time limitation. So in recent studies that ground agent, how to ground agent motivation is, in recent studies there that ground agent, in recent study that ground agent motivation in homeostasis. So actually there is a various approach has been explored. Though, however, this typically involves some explicitly predefined correspondence between the behavior and specific internal variable, or they address only very simple relationships, such as taking a particular type of food and when he is hungry. So even in the case where agent acquire behavior from continuous motor control, still these correspondences remain very simple. So in this study, we therefore examined whether the motivation driven by homeostasis has a potential to open-endedly generate more advanced and complex behavior beyond the simple relationships. So for this purpose, we focus on the environment called Crafter, which is considered an open-ended environment in deep reinforcement learning community. So this is a small Minecraft-like environment in which the agent takes the image as observation and the discrete action as outputs. Items can be composed of tree-like dependencies called achievement trees. So based on Crafter, we have created the homeostatic version of Crafter named Homeostatic Crafter. It was exactly the same dynamics with Crafter dynamics, but the agent can monitor its internal state as an interception. The agent in Crafter has 4 items that are key to its survival. So the agent's observation are images and interceptions that monitor these items. The agent is trained with only homeostatic levers. So again, here, agent has no specific sub-goal or desired behavior. The only goal is the homeostasis of the number of items. The structure of the agent in this experiment uses a ResNet and free connected layer as an encoder to connect the recurrent neural networks. The observation of the agent are RGB, raw vision input, and the 4-dimensional interception. So the asynchronous PPO was used for the optimization, and the optimization of the 5 billion time step was performed on this configuration. So here is the overview of the numerical result for the optimization. So we observed that the survival time in the environment, actually we observed that the survival time in the environment very varied depending on the random initial conditions. So therefore, we evaluated the performance using the maximum survival time set over the most recent 100 episodes. So as a result, such as agents motivated by homeostasis significantly increase their survival time, managing to survival up to 10,000 time step, which is a maximum of the Crafter environment. In contrast, when the rewards are defined based on the achievement of Crafter original subtasks, JS agents were unable to survive for long term. This does not indicate the failure of the optimization actually. In fact, the original score are comparable to the reported in other reinforcement learning benchmark studies on the Crafter. So actually here is an average survival time of the homeostatic agents. So achieving the agents that can robustly survive across all initial conditions remain an important challenge for the future work. So here is a recorded example that achieved 10,000 time step of the survival to qualitatively confirm the behavior later. The left panel shows the result obtained in this case. The actual right panel shows a result when training with original Crafter reward. The original Crafter behavior, the agent is indeed able to achieve the final goal of obtaining a diamond item. However, the agent cannot survive over long term. Now I will move on to the behavior that were observed in homeostatic agents. The first simple foraging behavior were identified for the agent's homeostasis. They recovered from thirst by consuming the water and from hunger to getting the cows. And as one example of the complex behavior, when the agent is surrounded by the skeleton shooting arrows, it has acquired the ability to skillfully avoid them. And the moreover, agents sometimes choose to attack the relatively weak monsters, such as zombies. This seems to reflect a proactive behavior aimed at eliminating the potential risks. And as further example of complex behavior, the agent creates the same shelter or building in the environment. And also, there's some surprising behavior is that the example, we cannot find no straightforward connection with the homeostasis in the behavior. I'm naming the building bridge and behavior that's make some bridge in the water area, taking advantage of the specific dynamics of the Crafter environment. Actually, the Crafter environment has its own inherent cycles alternating between day and night. And from this time series, we can observe the cyclic pattern in which the agent begins sleeping at night and consume the activity in the morning, engaging in eating and drinking. Interestingly, when evaluating the homeostatic agent, we found that they spontaneously complete the wide range of the crafter achievement. And this indicates that if specific behavior are relevant to agent survival, they are naturally utilized by homeostatic agents. And actually all reported behavior were repeatedly and frequently observed across optimization with different random seeds. So this behavior I reported are not something that happened by chance. So here's a limitation. So when considering the paradigm of the single agent acquiring behavior, as is in the case of the developmental robotics, the PPO is actually very computationally inefficient. So should be replaced by more sample-efficient algorithms for survival. Also, much research has been focusing on the intrinsic motivation rather than the homeostasis. Here, homeostasis is a generic extrinsic reward. So intrinsic rewards can generate survival behavior under certain conditions. But the mathematical relationships between the homeostasis reward and the intrinsic motivation should be clarified in the later study. Finally, in this study, the set point for homeostasis was manually specified. So how set point should be designed remains to be an open challenge for future work. So here is the conclusion of the study. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Questions?
So thank you so much for the talk. It was quite interesting. We've seen that it achieves long survival rates.
Yes.
But for example, I saw that it doesn't get often to collect a diamond at the end. Mm-hmm. Is that something different with respect to the original paper and craft that you found? Like, does it tend to collect less diamond less often than in the original? Or also the original had the same limitation and you just managed to survive for longer?
So you mean some variation of the behavior might be different from the original crafter and the homeostatic crafter? Is this
yeah, because I saw that you achieved a long survival rate.
Yes.
But when you showed all the actions that it was managing to achieve, it was very little chance of collecting the diamond at the end. Is that something like, how does that specific behavior of collecting the diamond, which is, I suppose, the more complex task, how does it compare in how often it achieves that with the original paper on the crafter environment?
So actually, we can monitor its achievement even in the homeostatic version of the crafter. So we just taken some statistics about the achievement of the agent in the homeostatic version. So we just compare, it's just counting the rate of the achievement in the environment.
Yes, my question was, like, does it achieve the same, say, as often as in the original version, or does your version achieve the diamond less often, more often? Like, have you tried to compare the two of them?
That's a good question. But actually, the answer is not. We have to verify about that. But actually, the original homeostatic crafter reward is strongly driven the agent to achieving every achievement. So agent is forced to doing that, but the homeostatic crafter is not driven for some collecting diamonds. It's strictly very complex to that making that kind of items. So should be some difference between some frequency or achieving the achievement.
Yeah. Thank you. Because I was expecting, like, maybe you could try and see with first training with this homeostatic reward, and then having some extrinsic reward to achieve all those actions that you mentioned, to see if this, say, homeostatic initial phase might lead to some good features forming in the representation of something.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to invite the next speaker as well while we take another question. I'd like to ask why did you choose this particular parameter for the drive of the agent?
Yeah, actually, there was a try and error, but actually, we have to specify what kind of the behavior should be, what kind of homeostatic set point parameter associated with some frequency of the behavior, such as when the so set point for hunger, maybe if it's high, the agents have to frequently take in some food. So actually there should be some trade-off between that kind of the set points. So we have to specify in the future study.
Good. Thank you very much. Let's give a warm applause to Naoto. Thank you.